In November 2025, the city that never sleeps woke up to something no one expected. New York City, the beating heart of American capitalism, home to Wall Street and skyscrapers, had just elected a Democratic Socialist as its mayor. His name, Zohran Mamdani, a 34-year-old immigrant son from Queens, a housing counselor turned politician, who once wrote poetry and fought eviction cases. That morning, the New York Times headline read, "From Astoria to City Hall, how a socialist upended the establishment." But this story isn't just about an election. It's about struggle, belief, and how conviction turned into a movement that reshaped America's biggest city. Zohran Mamdani's story begins far from New York, in Kampala, Uganda. His parents fled dictatorship for safety and freedom in America. His father, Mahmoud Mamdani, became a leading African scholar. His mother, Mira Nair, an award-winning filmmaker behind Monsoon Wedding. Yet Zohran didn't follow art or academia. He found his calling in the housing struggles of Queens, where rent hikes and evictions tore families apart. He once said, "My politics didn't come from textbooks. They came from eviction notices." That connection to lived pain, not theory, became the core of his political identity and the moral engine of his movement. In 2020, Mamdani stepped into politics, running for the New York State Assembly against five-term incumbent Arevella Simotas. Few gave him a chance. No establishment support. No donor network. Just volunteers and a mission. But America was changing. A progressive wave was rising after Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez shock victory, and young voters demanded real change. Door by door, Mamdani built an army of working-class supporters, teachers, delivery riders, students, people who saw themselves in him. Against all odds, he won. That victory wasn't just political. It was symbolic, proof that grassroots energy could topple entrenched power. Once sworn into office, Mamdani immediately broke the silence of routine politics. He called for fare-free city buses, rent freezes, and higher taxes on millionaires. The establishment laughed, calling him naive, but his ideas resonated. His words hit hard because they were simple and moral. If billionaires can get free bailouts, then working people can get free buses. That message went viral and turned him from a local activist into a national symbol of the working class fight back. To many New Yorkers struggling under rent and debt, he wasn't radical. He was real. By 2024, whispers began across the city. Could Mamdani run for mayor? New York's mayorship had always belonged to insiders with money and power, not to socialists from Queens. But when he announced his campaign in October 2024 with the slogan, "A city for the many," everything changed. Volunteers flooded in, and the Democratic Socialists of America mobilized citywide. His rallies were alive, human, hopeful, full of energy. Meanwhile, opponents like former Governor Andrew Cuomo mocked him as unrealistic. But Mamdani had something they lacked: authenticity, conviction, and the courage to fight for what he believed. His platform read like a manifesto of urban justice. First, fare-free buses. He argued public transport should be truly public, funded by a small wealth tax. Second, a $30 minimum wage by 2030, because in a city where rent eats your paycheck, anything less is slow starvation. Third, universal childcare and city-run grocery stores to cut corporate control of essentials. And finally, 200,000 new affordable homes, financed by taxing luxury vacancies and speculative landlords. To critics, it was socialism. To struggling families, it was survival.